Okay, what's going on out there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS. So I'm back here again for another review for you guys. This is going to be an interesting review because it actually has one of the strongest performances this year from an all-around ensemble cast. I'm talking about the movie The Killing of a Sacred Deer. This was recommended to me by a good friend, Yorgos Alexandra. If you haven't checked out his channel, you definitely should. This movie was put on his top 10 listing. I'm just now getting to look at this today, as well as The Disaster Artist. I'll go and do a review on that a little bit later on. So this stars definitely Nicole Kidman, Alicia Silverstone, and my man Colin Farrell, and as well as two unknown child actors, and as far as one of the most compelling characters in Barry Keoghan, I think that's his name, that plays the role of Martin. No last name, just Martin. And the crazy thing about this film to me is the fact that, and I don't know how to do this without spoiling too much, Colin Farrell's character, who is a surgeon, the movie starts off with open heart surgery, literally. And so Stephen is an amazing surgeon, supposedly, but his connection to this kid, Martin, is years ago, Martin's dad died on I guess, Stephen's watch. For whatever reason, they don't really disclose it even in the movie, so it's not even a spoiler or anything. But for whatever reason, Stephen decided he wanted to befriend Martin, take him underneath his wing, gave him a watch, always tried to see him, did this all behind his family's back. But the fact is that as strange as Martin is, and I'll get to that later, Colin Farrell's character is very dark. He's got this methodical, nature about him, where even in the way that he talks with his children, the way his children respond to him, the way that he interacts with his wife, the way that his wife and him are intimate, like everything about it just feels wrong. It feels like either this is a lie, this person is sick. There's a scenario where Stephen talks to his son, and he was in the hospital. We'll get to that a little bit later. And he's basically telling him a situation happened with his dad, who was drunk. And I was like, this is about to be very dark. And the thing about the film is I feel uncomfortable the entire time. Like literally underneath my skin, I feel like it's an infection. You know what I'm trying to say? But the thing about this, where it goes from this thriller and suspense drama, it goes to science fiction horror very fast, because all of a sudden the son loses the ability of being able to eat or use his legs from this very interesting moment that happens where Stephen and Martin are talking. Martin basically tells him, like, look, at a certain point, everybody in your family, this including you, will first lose the ability of their legs, second, lose the ability of being able to eat, and then third, will bleed from the eyes, and at that point, that'll be it for them. And if you don't take matters into your own hands, I don't want to spoil what he has to do to stop it, then they'll all die anyway. And that's where it goes into this horror psychological bend, where there are moments where, like, Martin will interact with the young girl Kim, for instance. Kim and him have this interesting relationship, but Martin never at any point really tries to take advantage of Kim in a physical way, even though he's a little bit older, and yet she is drawn to him. Like, he focuses on her, but she's drawn to him. And it's like, there's a point where, she loses the ability of being able to walk too. And she talks to him on the phone. He basically tells her, well, you can go get up and walk and talk to me at the window. And she hadn't been able to do it this whole entire time. So it was like, in my head, I was like, okay, well, maybe they're doing this together. Maybe, like, this is something that, is an unspoken word that the little boy is a no, and he did something to the little boy. Then you start to understand that, no, this is very much so on the paranormal kind of situation connected to this boy Martin. There's even a situation where Stephen interacts with Alicia Silverstone, who is Martin's mother. We never know who her name is. But at one point, he interacts with her, and she's just drawn to his fingers. Like, he's got beautiful surgeon hands, supposedly. And all of a sudden, like, she comes onto him. Like, comes onto his fingers. And I was like, what? And I talked to this with another one of my friends, Jarrell. The fact is that I never really got an actual focused scene where it was Martin, his mother, and Stephen at the same exact time. I might be wrong. I might be wrong by that. I don't want to quote on that. But the simple fact is that could this all be Martin? Like, we don't know. Even the fact is, man, this movie goes on the line of sickness. What I mean by sickness is I mean evil, blurring lines of wickedness that goes down when people are put under the pressure cooker, when they don't know what to do. And the thing about the film, to me, is that us as audience members, from what Martin said was going to happen, that is something that is an inevitability that we have to actually accept as audience members as well as the family. And I think that's what the movie does perfectly, is that it gives you this level of dread and hopelessness that you're just going to have to really accept unless something changes. And the change is something that you have to sacrifice. And I was just like, by the end of the movie, I was like, this is messed up. And the other thing about the end of the movie is, I would have, if I was the dad, I would have handled that a whole different way. But thinking about it, if he would have acted any other way, it would have begged question to the merits of what he had to do. And I guess that's the best way of saying it without spoiling it. So there's other things that happen. Nicole Kidman is very masterful in her performance. Like, she's just the weirdest, sickest, darkest character, man. And you don't know it. You see their lines that are just blurred in the early parts of the movie that is so focused and they're so this, but yet there's something underneath their skin that's like not right. Same thing with the kids. The kids are just all over the place. The little girl goes into this dark place where she's sitting there telling her brother, like, yeah, you're gonna die. There's no hope for you. And then the brother is doing everything he can to try to, be right for his dad, so his dad doesn't, feel as though he has to kill him. And then the dad, it was crazy, man. But again, the strongest three performances, definitely Colin Farrell, Nicole Kidman, and this kid, Barry Keoghan, as Martin. Like, he's a villain that doesn't even have to lift a finger. I think that's the thing that makes him so eerie. The fact is that his dialogue alone makes him one of the best villains that I've seen this year. And I thought that, oh my gosh, what's my man from, plays General Zod? Oh my gosh, let me fact check that real quick. He was in The Shape of Water. What was his name? Oh my gosh, Michael Shannon. I thought that he was one of the best villains this year in The Shape of Water. But no, I was wrong. This kid, Martin, is one of the best villains because everything that he does is he positions the audience and them for the okie doke. And you're like, okay, there's a way around this. There's a way. No, it's not. And I think that's the thing that's so fleeting and gut-wrenching about the end and the climax of this film. As far as the ratings concerned, easily 9.5 out of 10. Very well mastered films. I still would not personally put it in my top 10, only because it was just a lot emotionally. And I think that when I think about my top 10 list, it's a character, I think me and Jarrell was talking about this, it's a character of what I deem as one of my favorite films, not so much what is the best crafted films. And I think that probably if I ended up looking at The Darkest Hour or, taking this into consideration, It Came at Night, which I've already seen, and Blade Runner, those would be one of the best well-crafted films, period. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of my favorite personal list, I still couldn't add it, but I can't knock it, man. It's a rough road, but it's a great film. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed that review. Keep it locked. JVS ain't gonna stop. Be right back for The Disaster Artist. So very nice. Peace, guys. Talk to y'all then.